Yes, we're back, people. Welcome back to 12th Man. Welcome back to the channel. And we got another show with me and Curtis. It's been ages since I've had C on. I've got to be honest, man. We've been trying to plan this for so long. Same with Turkish. Me and him. I think it's taken 6 weeks to get anything in the diary for me and Curtis. It's probably taken longer for me and Turkish. We've been busy, but in a good way, man. How you doing, Curtis? You good, bruv?
Yeah, good, bro. Good to be here, man. Like I said, apologies, for the
Nah, come on.
delay returning, but we get there in the end. But yeah, man, good to be here and more positive show than some of the previous ones we've had.
Brother, it's been a mad few weeks. There's been a lot to talk about. And if I'm honest with you, today is kind of broke at a good time in terms of Tim Lewis leaving. We're going to talk about that. We'll talk a little bit about the Manchester City game this weekend. I want to get your thoughts as well, looking back at the Forest and Bilbao game. So we've got a lot to discuss and not a lot of time to do it in. So make sure you do me a favor, people. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on this one, and make sure that you're showing Curtis some love. Curtis Shaw TV, over 100K. I see the plaques arrived now, brother, as well.
Yeah, it's here, man. So, you have to take them victories when you can, don't you? It's nice to get past the 100K. It kind of flew over the summer when I was on tour. It was just flying up and then came back and then we got there and yeah, man, nice to get that. And obviously big up yourself, bro. I mean, you've gone past 50K in a ridiculously short time and your work rate is crazy. So, you deserve that. I reckon you'll be at 100K next year, probably. Maybe even
Oh, bro.
in fact, you might even get it. You might even get it by like Christmas, depending on what happens. You never
You never
know.
know. With supporting a team like Arsenal, there's always something to talk about. Let me tell you that now.
Yeah,
So you
yeah,
never know.
there is.
But big up to you, man. I appreciate that, and you're
And
smashing it as well, man. I love your content. So big up to you, man. And look, as you say, we can talk about some positives. And I don't know if we see this news as positive or negative or what, but we'll talk about it. Obviously, saying today that Tim Lewis is gone, bruv. There's no more Tim Lewis. He's stepped down. Let's bring up the story. It's been announced literally a couple of hours ago. I think people were talking about it. That Josh Kroenke has confirmed it. Tim Lewis has stepped down from the board. He's left Arsenal after 5 years with the club. Josh Kroenke has said that at this moment, we'd like to thank Tim for his continued dedication and commitment to Arsenal in a period of transformational change for the club. He's played a pivotal role and ensured we're in a great position to continue to deliver our strategy and our ambition to win major trophies. I still can't get over that hairline, man. Look at it. I mean, it's quite
there's just no
unbelievable.
need for it, is there? Like you've got two directions you can go in, right? You either go to Turkey and bring that front line back, or you just Phil Mitchell and take it all off. You
This
know what
is
I
what I
mean?
mean,
Like,
man. Just embrace it or go and do something about it. Like, what is that
yeah,
hairline, man? Come on. I'm not normally like that, but it's just that's the only thing I think of when someone says Tim Lewis is that
yeah,
hairline. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. It's
But look,
true.
there's been another kind of couple of appointments. I wanted to get your kind of thoughts on this because I don't have a clue about any of these people and who they are, right? But apparently Kelly Blaha and Otto Mali will join the Arsenal board as non-executive directors alongside the long-time KSC advisor Dave Steiner. The producer and director Ben Winston, who is a season ticket holder at the club for over 30 years, is going to join the board as a non-executive director too. Josh Kroenke says, in keeping with our desire to always move forward, we will strengthen our board with some exciting additions who will bring vast experience to the club across a wide range of professions. The group know and love Arsenal and will bring a different skill set and expertise while injecting fresh thinking and energy to support us to achieve our ambitions. Let's bring the both things up together, man, because it all kind of comes together nicely. Tim
Yeah.
Lewis, thoughts on him leaving and thoughts on these replacements. I mean, it makes me laugh. Ben Winston, and like, oh, who's Ben Winston? Well, he's been a season ticket holder for 30
Yeah.
years.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah.
I know quite a lot of season ticket holders.
Do you know what I mean? Let's get Chris Hudson appointed at Arsenal. He's been a
Yeah,
season
mate.
ticket holder for years. Can I just say first of all that I personally think this is a Josh Kroenke power move.
Okay.
That's the way I'm taking it. Um, I mean, just before we went live, I was reading the article in the Athletic that Ornstein put out. One of the things that he's put is he said the timing of Lewis' departure is a huge surprise, despite the fact he was not universally popular behind the scenes. That's a very interesting thing for Ornstein to say. Um, if you look at his background, he's worked for the Cronkays for about 17, 18 years, Tim Lewis. So he's very much a Stan Kroenke worker. You know, he's a lawyer and he deals with finances. They said that he was pretty much the reason we never signed Ollie Watkins in January. He told the Kroenke he's not worth more than 40 million, and they stuck at 40 million. And then you look at Richard Garlick getting moved up from his role. Richard Garlick, for me, I've never got over him and Edu high-fiving, giving away Aubameyang for nothing and thinking that was an achievement. He then went and got 13 goals in half a season at Barca. But I feel like Josh is getting rid of that old guard of these guys that were all working for Stan and, you know, go and report to him. I kind of feel like Josh has said, you know, get rid of Edu, get rid of Tim, get Richard Garlick, get Berta, get Arteta. And I think it's this younger, more vibrant sort of group of people. And I suppose we've just got to see how it works out. I mean, ultimately, we've had a very good summer, a big summer, and Berta has, you know, I think done amazing work for one transfer window. We just sort of want that Saliba and Saka new contract. So, yeah, for me, I mean, I just think it's Josh putting his stamp on things and thinking, you know what, this guy he's one of the old guard who worked for Stan, bringing my own people. So, yeah, I'm not surprised. I reckon he's been pushed out personally. I know they won't say, but I reckon Josh has probably said, you know, on your bike now, mate. You've done what's needed. And they reckon he's the guy that got Eze to the club as well, because he had a relationship with Steve Parish at Crystal Palace. So he's probably said...
Tim Lewis or Josh Kroenke?
Tim Lewis. So if you look at a lot of that Eze deal, they say that Tim Lewis and Steve Parish do business outside of Arsenal and Palace. So they reckon he was the one that sort of got the Eze deal over the line, which was interesting. But yeah, I think Josh has said, listen, man, I'm running the show now. You know, I don't need people running back to his dad and telling him. So I think it's a Josh Kroenke power move. So I don't mind. I suppose we just got to see how it works out in the next couple of transfer windows.
Have you seen, right, Kurt, it's more of a ruthless start to the season when it comes to the boardroom and Josh Kroenke and Andrea Berta, because there's been a lot of reports suggesting that he's come out and said, Mikel, we've given you everything now. It's time to deliver. I want to see trophies. There was rumors that has happened. There's now been the ruthlessness of Tim. It's time to go. Thanks for your time. I'm going to bring in new people. And it does seem like Stan is just sitting in America, chilling out, silent Stan, letting his son do what he wants, sort of thing. So do you think this is a new move, and do you think it's a good move, or do you think that it'll be like it takes more than just a couple of rumors to like see where this can take us? Do you know what I mean?
The thing is, there has to be some return. And when you look at the way the Cronkays have ran their other clubs, they've ultimately won at pretty much every club. We're the only club that haven't sort of won. I think the Colorado Rapids, the football club in America, they've just signed Rob Holding, actually. So I don't think they've won either. And they're probably not going to win with the Rob Holding signing, to be honest. But, yeah, I mean, if you look at the Nkapia signing, which is obviously going to become obligation next summer, 45 million, that would have taken this window to 305 million pound. We've never, ever seen a transfer window like that at Arsenal. So I think there's got to be a point that they say, we need some return on that in terms of success. But I also think Josh is sort of eager to show that I'm the one that can achieve something here. You know, he's been at a lot of the games this season, which you never see with Stan. He's been involved in signing players. They said he was in that meeting that day when they spoke about Eze. He was at the PFA Awards standing next to Arteta. You know, he's spending a lot of time in England. And listen, I've been very, very critical of the Cronkays, and rightly so. You know, I think they've allowed us to just sort of drift into mediocrity for a long time. But I will give Josh credit. I think since he's been sort of the guy at the forefront of the club, I think there's a different feeling around Arsenal. Me and you sat there earlier in the year doing streams saying this Berta appointment feels like it's a change in the direction of the club. And we haven't seen a window like the window we've just seen as well. And you look at some of the recruitment. So everything seems like it's in place at Arsenal for Arsenal to be successful now. We've got the squad. We've got the owner who's pumping money in. We've got an elite sporting director in Berta. They're getting rid of the old guard and bringing new people in. It's just that one question mark of, is the manager. And listen, I know some people don't like that conversation, but everything's there in place now for him to be successful. He's now got to get this team over the finish line. So that's where the question mark lies. So if he has gone to him and said, look, we need to now see some success, I think that's the pressure that Arteta should be working under.
Yeah, and I think the appointment of Andrea Berta has been phenomenal. Now, me and you both said that we wanted him. And then, if I'm honest with you, Curtis, in the first couple of weeks, I thought, oh, no, please don't say this guy's a fraud as well. Because we were getting linked with like everybody but a striker. And then, to be honest with you, mate, 8 signings, contract renewals, the business he did with Nkapie was unbelievable, really, to basically say, look, we're twisting your arm. You're pretty much going to let us have him at the end of this season. I've never seen a deal done like that before. That was pretty impressive. And I think, you know, the signing of Noni Madueke now makes a hell of a lot more sense than it did when we first signed him, because we've brought in Eza and Gyökeres on top of that. So for me, I think it's been a good window. The thing is, people say to me all the time, they get me on shows or I'll come on here or people will chat to me on panels on here and they'll say, you're sounding pretty happy, Dan, with your window, with the squad now. Do you think we're going to win the league then? And I'll say no. And they'll go, well, that doesn't make sense. And I'll say, well, you know why? There's only one thing that I'm not sure about still, and it's him. And I like Mikel. I've got a lot of time for what he's done for the club. I think he's been brilliant for us, taking us to the kind of 8th place towards challenging. There's not an issue with that. And if you would have said to me, I want a manager in, Dan, to get us from 8th to 2nd, I'd say go and hire Mikel Arteta. But if you want to win stuff, I'm still not sure he can get us across the line. And that's all it is. And the people then go, you know, oh, that's out of order. But it's not out of order because he's not proved that he can get across the line yet. If he does, me and you will be the first to go, whoa, we've done it. Get in there, Mikel. You can stay. This is brilliant. But until he does that, see, I'm not going to sit there and say that I've been wrong for the last 6 years, because I'm still waiting to be proven that he can be the guy that can win a silverware, you know. And I'm just talking about a trophy, not the big one. It doesn't have to be the one with the big ears or the Premier League for me. It just needs to be a domestic trophy that he can say he can now win with this team. Now, a lot of people are even more than that. They're like, if he wins that, mate, he can go. That ain't enough. Calm. That's no problem. But I can't even get him to win one of the domestic ones. He keeps chucking them away as well. So I think it's good that they're putting that, if it's true, that they're putting that pressure on him, because like you've just said, 305 million has never been spent in this window. Arsene Wenger would have dreamed to have had a window like that, right? Over the years, you know, when we were buying Petr Cech and that was it. Do you know what I mean? So I think when you look at what he's been given, not just this summer, but also across that 5-6 years, Mikel Arteta hasn't had it hard like some of the other managers. Like, I really don't believe you can say that Mikel Arteta has had it rough at Arsenal. Like, oh, how's he managed to get us through that? Or how's he, with no money spent and with no that there's rubbish players that was left by Emery. I don't think you can, I'm not one of those guys who says that. So I think it's time to deliver now. And I think he knows that. Like, a lot of people get Mikel a little bit mixed up, I think. Sometimes people think, oh, he's just happy to sunbathe at Arsenal. He gets 15 million. He don't want to win. He's happy just to be there. I actually disagree with people who say that. I think he does want to win. I think he's doing his best to win. I just don't know that his best is enough, see. Do you know what I'm saying?
I totally agree with that. And, I've spoke to him on these tours. And one thing I have never said or criticized him for is, number one, his lack of ambition. And number two, his lack of care. I think he genuinely loves Arsenal Football Club, you know, as a guy that played for the club, captained the club, and now managed the club. I watched his interview that he did with Ali McCoist the other day that I thought was very good. And how he said he wasn't sure about taking the job when he was offered it. And Pep sort of said, you know, you've got to go and take that opportunity. I know how much you love the club. It's like you said, taking the club from 8th to 2nd it's an achievement. But we've seen Emery get Villa from a relegation battle under Gerrard to the Champions League. Eddie Howe took Newcastle from a relegation battle to the Champions League. You know, Glasner's won the FA Cup at Palace, selling probably most of his best players each season. Lost Elise, lost Eze. So we've seen managers go to clubs and make big strides forward. I think ultimately in sport, the most difficult thing is to go from 2nd to 1st. That's the it might look the smallest gap, but it's the hardest leap, you know. And we all sort of felt like if Man City had a drop off, that it was our time. You know, we were gonna clean up. That drop off happened last season, and we didn't capitalize on it. You know, Slot came in and signed one player and won the league. And then you look at what Liverpool have done this season in the transfer window, and you hope that we haven't missed that window of opportunity where it was sort of wide open to go and get it, and now, somebody's, leapfrogged us. So it's going to be interesting, and obviously we're going to talk about the Man City game, but I think the Man City game this week is so big for us, because if we don't beat Man City, I think people will turn around and go, you've got a very good team, but when you've played Liverpool, you've lost, and when you've played City, you've lost or
Not
drawn.
beat 'em, yeah.
Yeah, it'll look like, well, you can't beat the competition around you, which I was very disappointed with the Anfield game. And it wasn't because we lost, it was because of how we played. And I know we've got a very good defense, and I can see why he leans on that defense. But I think sometimes you've got to go to your rival and put them on the back foot and intimidate them a little bit. And I felt like we went there and sort of said, if we get out of here with a draw, it's a good result. And then we ended up losing the game, and you feel very disappointed. I mean, I've said, Dan, I don't mind watching boring football if we win trophies.
Facts.
Bore me for the whole season. I'll moan after every game probably. But if you're lifting the trophy, I'll fall back and go, bro, I don't care how you won it. You know what I mean? Just win it. The problem Mikel's got is if we play boring football and don't win trophies,
yeah,
they're gonna go, you've spent $1 billion to play football like that, and you're not winning nothing. That's not gonna work with the fans. And even now, you've got mainstream media talking about it. You know, when we was playing Bilbao the other day, the commentator saying they've got to be braver, they've got to get forward, they've got to get bodies around Gyökeres, they've got to. So that's where he's got to be careful. I think when you've got such a good defense, you don't need to double down on it so much. You don't need to bring both your wingers back. You don't need two sixers sitting in front of it. You don't need to drag. Your defense is that good that you can say, Odegaard, go and play close to Gyökeres. Madueke, stay high on. I mean, Man City this weekend, they haven't even got a fullback. Kuzanov's a centre-back and O'Reilly's a number 10. So Madueke should be high, Eze should be high, so that's now you've built this defense. We all know we've got that foundation. Now you've got to get that attack working in a similar fashion. I've also got question marks over the midfield because I just don't know if the balance at the moment is right in that midfield. With Zubi in the 6, sometimes looks a little bit lightweight. I still don't know if we're getting the best out of Rice in the left 8, and then Odegaard's been inconsistent. Marino. I think every Arsenal fan universally does not want to see Zubimendi, Rice, Marino on the team sheet on Sunday afternoon. Like, we just don't want to see that midfield against Man City. So, and what's he going to do with Eze as well? Because Martinelli's come in and done well. So I think by 3:30, we'll all know how we feel about that game on Sunday when you see the team sheet.
Yeah, and you know what? The team sheet at Liverpool deflated me straight away. I was really up for that game, and I really did feel like we could nick something at Anfield for the first time in quite some time. I didn't think we'd lose the game. When he set up with Marino, mate, I thought, well, don't lose, because if you're setting up like that, you cannot lose the game. You might not win it. You got to at least take a draw. When we lost the game, I thought, and don't get me wrong, it was to an unbelievable free kick, right? I don't know anyone saying that. It was unbelievable, right? However, I looked and I thought, so you've set up with 3 midfielders like that. You've not really had a go at Liverpool, and you've lost the game. Like you've just said, I don't mind playing Conte, Mourinho, Simeone, George Graham football if you're winning 1-0, 2-1. It might not be the most exciting in certain games, but at the end of May, you're going to be lifting stuff and saying, fair play, it's worked. When you set up like that, don't be a David Moyes or a Sam Allardyce when you lose playing like that, because that's what you're going to get told, which is why we get told Pulisic football and all this stuff. So for me, I think it needs to be setting up like that resolute. You have to go and win the game or not lose the game. And I don't know that we should be playing like that at all in this Arsenal setup, because people have tried to defend it, saying it's difficult to go there. But we've built an unbelievable stacked defence. He needs to have trust in it. Allow people to go forward. Allow that if they get caught on the break, Big Gabby and Saliba will have you. Timber, he's been immense. Yeah, the likes of Calafiori, in my opinion, in the last few games has really impressed me, and he's not really been my favourite player in the last 12 months, but I've been quite impressed and kind of surprised at how good he is. Mosquera, I'll ask you about in a minute. You've got Nkapie, who hasn't even played yet. He's defensively resolute. We've hardly played Ben White or Lewis-Skelly. Like, we've got enough players there to go and you've got Rice and Zubimendi on top of that. Like, why are we
Yeah.
playing so resolute and possession based? And like, let me ask you before we go to Man City. Like, obviously, we saw Forest where we're a little bit more attack minded. I was probably one of my favourite games to watch in a long time, seeing the likes of Eze and Madueke and Gyökeres in the kind of attacking roles. Obviously, Ethan Nwaneri I thought was excellent when he came on for Odegaard. And then we go back and revert back into the Bilbao game, which, to be fair, I was fine with. We won the game 2-0. Trossard and Martinelli come on and scored, but it weren't exciting. It wasn't a great watch again. It was very possession based, sideways, backwards. The final third, Arteta's doing his micromanagement again, telling people where to be in position. It don't look like he wanted to take the shackles off again. Now, look, the job done, and you can't complain because you won 2-0, right? But I just don't want to be seeing that against every team that we get a little bit scared of. It's right, Mourinho back in midfield like Liverpool and probably City at the weekend. When we go to Spurs away, it will probably be Mourinho in midfield. At Villa Park, Mourinho in midfield. I just want him to have a little bit more balls without being too out of order, Curtis, and just actually believe in your players that, they might go forward and you might get caught, but that's why you've spent unbelievable amounts of money on your midfield defensively and your defensive unit. Trust them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do you know what? I think Arteta's mindset's got to change, because when he came to the club, it was like a rescue mission, and we had a bad defence. He walked into Socrates and all them kind of defenders. So I feel like he probably went to a lot of big grounds to survive rather than to go there and to prosper. I think he's got to believe now that when we go to Anfield, believe we're coming here for 3 points. I don't think like you said, I don't think we should be going to any ground in this country and thinking, let's hang on for a point. We don't need to do that. We've got a very expensive squad now with a lot of squad depth, and he needs to push this team, because if they can see that that's his mindset, they might fall into that same category of thinking at Anfield, if we can get out of here with a point, it's a good point. And as you've seen with Liverpool this season, Atletico got 2 goals, Bournemouth scored 2, Newcastle scored 2. Everybody has scored against Liverpool apart from us and Burnley, to be honest. So it's disappointing that we went there and created so few chances. And he spent over 150 million on the attack this summer with Eze, Gyökeres and Madueke. And there are a lot of times in the game where you're going, Gyökeres, he's not in this game at all. Or Eze, you looked at Eze. I mean, we were all so excited when Eze came through the door, right? Let it all work out. And you're watching all of his YouTube highlights of his goals at Palace. You're thinking, look at that goal and look at the way. And then you look at him, and I know, listen, it's not a large enough period to judge it on, but you look at that game at Bilbao and you think, he's hugging the touchline, he's tracking back to double up with Calafiori, gets dragged after 60, 70 minutes. He's hardly been on the ball. And you think, Mikel, I really hope you don't turn him into that player, because one of my friends actually a Palace season ticket holder, and he messaged me and he said, bro, if you use him like that, he's going to disappear very quickly, because he's a free spirit. And, he didn't look very happy either. He's a player that's always smiling. Very quickly, that smile disappeared. You look at Gyökeres. In the games that he's played, he's had very few chances. You look at even the Forest game, I think the only chance he had was the one he actually scored. He had a couple of half chances against Bilbao. And I don't know about anybody else, and I could be wrong, and I hope it doesn't sound cynical, but I've almost had this feeling that it almost feels like Arteta didn't sign those players. Now, I'm not saying he didn't agree to sign them, but it almost feels like they were pushed on him rather than they were the ones he was saying. Like, I think we all believe Sesko was the guy he wanted, but we all saw the stories that the price was too high and Gyökeres was cheaper. He's a win-now striker, and they've probably said, you look at Eze. Eze's had a release clause all summer. So if we really wanted Eze, we would have signed it. We've literally signed Eze because they've said, look, man, Havertz out for 4 months. we need a replacement. There's 60 odd million quid left in the kitty. Do you want to do that deal? And he said, okay, I'll do that deal. I could almost predict that he's going to drag off Eze in this game. He's going to drag off Gyökeres in this game. They're not going to get 90 minutes. Now you're looking at it going, Martinelli's come on and got a goal and an assist. And I'm sort of sitting here going, Eze might, is Eze going to start against Manchester City on Sunday? Like, I'm not totally sure. He might get caught up in that Martinelli performance and go, I don't know. So I just think Arteta's got to... There's no point having these players if you don't use them in the right way. Gyökeres needs people around him. He needs the ball early. Eze needs freedom. And I think ultimately the thing that's been a bit frustrating is Odegaard's been out for a couple of games with the shoulder and obviously happened in 2 different games. Nwaneri comes on against Leeds, plays really well. We win the game 5-0. He gets benched for the following game. He comes on against Forest. We win the game 3-0. He plays well. He gets benched for the following game. And Eze gets played on the left, even though we know he's better playing central. So that almost tells me that Arteta doesn't want that pressure of, I'm in a situation now where I've got to bench Odegaard because Nwaneri's played great again. Or Eze's played 10 against Bilbao and ripped it up. So now I can't get Odegaard in. So it was easier for him to go, I'll put Marino in midfield in a flat 3. Then when Odegaard comes back, nobody's going to say anything. Because to me, and I don't know about anybody else, and some people don't like this, I do not think Odegaard at this moment in time really justifies being in this team because he hasn't performed consistently for a long time. And yeah, you're the captain. I understand that. But I don't think he's doing enough for us when he plays. Is he a great leader? Sometimes you're an average player, but you're a great leader. I don't think he's a great leader. I felt more comfortable seeing Gabriel with the armband the other night, and I saw him telling people and giving out instructions. And Declan Rice got booked and showed maturity and didn't get the second yellow card. So I saw more leadership with those 2. And then I'm thinking, it's almost like he's scared to give Nwaneri the license. Even last season when Odegaard was out for 7 weeks, he never played in that role. The only time he got in the team was when Saka got injured on the right-hand side. So I think Arteta's got to sort of move away from some of those players that 2 or 3 years ago, your Martinellis, your Odegaards, these guys were vital. But I think we might have, a word he loves, evolved from those 2. And now, against Forest, like you saw, we had Nwaneri, Madueke, Eze and Gyökeres, and we were just, every time we went forward, things were happening, they were interchanging. So I think he's going to have to make some brave decisions if he wants us to be successful moving forward.
Facts. Let's talk about what a couple of bits you've said there that I've got opinions on, which I think you're bang on with. I think he wanted Sesko and Nico Williams, not Gyökeres and Eze. I truly believe that. I think if he was given the 4 players, he would have taken Williams and Sesko ahead of Gyökeres and Eze. Now, that's worrying in itself because Sesko I didn't rate at Leipzig and he certainly hasn't done anything at Man United. Obviously, Williams has been injured, but I don't think he's really lit up the games that I've seen him in the last few months that we were linked with him. I started to watch him a bit more and think, 1, his brother looks better, and 2, I hadn't really seen him do much in the shirt of Bilbao, to be fair. So that's worrying in itself. So I'm glad that Bert has taken charge of that. And look, Gyökeres and Eze might not be unbelievable for Arsenal, but certainly they've shown glimpses of quality in the first few games, as opposed to what I've seen from the other 2 players we were linked with. The other thing you mentioned, which I really find frustrating as hell, is he hasn't learned from his mistakes of last season, which he come out and said he got wrong. And what I mean by that is when Odegaard got injured last season for quite some time, he played Trossard in the 10 and it just wasn't working. Everybody was crying out for Ethan. Ethan was scoring goals against Bolton in the Carabao Cup and doing it against Preston and coming on in games and scoring goals. And he come out in a press conference and said, I got that one wrong. I should have trusted Ethan more. I would have liked to have seen more of him. Now there's a chance again to see Ethan Nwaneri in the 10 and he's playing Marino there. So I don't get what he's doing with Ethan Nwaneri, and I'm worried about that because I think he's an unbelievable player, Ethan. I think he's got so much potential. I look at what he did against Leeds and Forest and thought, well, he's done everything he can to be putting into the first team because the guy's quicker on the ball. The guy moves the ball faster. The guy looks more likely to shoot and score. He looks threatening. He looks like he's happy to play 1-2. And the one thing I love about him is his intent to drive forward. for some reason, Mikel Arteta sees those attributes as a negative because he doesn't want to,
Yeah.
leave us short off the ball. I don't think he likes his work rate off the ball and the fact that he doesn't press as much, even though I think he's actually gone a hell of a lot better at that personally. So I find that very frustrating. And the other thing I'll say is there's many options at the moment when your players are out. Erdegaard being one of them. Is Eze going to come in there? Is Waneri going to start? Is he going to do something different, maybe with 4-4-2 and play Rice and Zubimendi and then maybe two up top? But he's just refused to do any of those options and put Marino in there. Now, I'm not saying Marino is a bad player. I don't actually think Marino is a holding midfielder. I think he's more of an attacking kind of player. But I don't think he's got anywhere near the creativity level or flair or spark or kind of is aesthetically pleasing as somebody like Ethan or, of course, Martin Odegaard or Eze. So I don't know why that has been the case, if I'm honest with you. I thought it was something he wouldn't come back to after Liverpool, but he's kind of stuck with it. And you made a good point about the kind of evolving team. We needed Zinchenko and Jesus that year. I don't care what anyone says. They were brilliant for us. Right?
They were.
We don't need them anymore, but we did need them back then. We evolved and we changed. Now, I'm not sure we changed with the right personnel. I think we still need a left back and a backup striker. However, at the time, we needed to evolve in that, right? I think that he could say the same about Martinelli. And I've got a lot of time for Martinelli. I was really happy for him the other night. I like him. But I don't want him starting every game. And I think that that's now evolved. But he needs to now look at the captaincy and that position and say, do we need something else or Erdegaard and something else? Because there's nothing wrong with me saying, let's say we've got Brentford at home in a few weeks' time, Curtis, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't really want to drop my captain, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to play Rice in the 6 and I'm going to have Eze and Erdegaard in the attacking eight roles. I've got nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying you need to dump this guy out the side, strip the captaincy of it and give it to Gabriel, who actually is my captain, by the way. A lot of people would give it to Rice. I would actually give it to Gabriel personally, and Rice would be my vice captain, right? But either way, he's not going to do that. What's frustrating is he's not going to not just do that. He's on top of that, not going to drop him either when he's back. So when I look at Ethan and I look at Eze in the middle, I don't think Arsenal fans are going to be anything but frustrated this season because I don't think they're going to get any game time in that position because Martin Odegaard is going to be there. And, we've said about Kai Havertz being a bit of a problem last year. It's like, what do you do with him? I kind of feel like, and I think Judges said it, I kind of feel like we might be like that with Odegaard a bit this season as well. And that worries me, Curtis. It really worries me, man, because I think like we've got an unbelievable squad now that's probably the best and strongest it's been since the Highbury days. And I've never had a problem with the squad. I've always had a problem with one man, and it ain't the squad players. It's the manager managing that squad. Because, a lot of people have said to me, this Arsenal squad is unbelievable. Like, it's so good. And you've seen it. No Saka, no Saliba, no Odegaard, no Havertz, no Jesus. You wouldn't know because of the players that are coming in now. So I'm sorry. People that think, the squad's not that great. I'm sorry, it is. It's the manager who is the guy who's struggling with it if he can't do anything this season with it. So that's my kind of thoughts on that. But I wanted to ask you a couple of questions on the kind of players that have come in. Mosquera for Saliba, Madueke for Saka, obviously Eze and Gyökeres as a new front three. What have you made of these players? Because I've been quietly impressed with particularly Mosquera. And I think that, Madueke, to be fair to him, has had a couple of threatening games, in my opinion, bro.
Yeah, Mosquera has been the standout, really, because, he was quite a cheap buy. I think a lot of people didn't know too much about him. And the fact that we're not even talking about Saliba shows how good Mosquera has been. Having said that, and I said this yesterday on my show, is that if Saliba's 100% fit on Sunday, I would still put Saliba back in the team against Man City. That's just my opinion. I just think this game's a different animal. I think if Saliba's available and he's 100%, I would still say to Mosquera, look, you've done brilliant the last few games. We got Port Vale next week. You're going to get minutes in that, but just sit back and watch this game. I want to see Saliba against Haaland. That's my opinion. In terms of Zubimendi's the one at the moment that's got me a little bit, 1 minute you watch the Forest game and the volley and the way he's getting on the ball, you think, wow, what a player. This is the midfielder Arteta's wanted for seasons. But I watched him at Old Trafford, didn't really get hold of Bruno. Watched him at Anfield. He struggled when Curtis Jones came on. He got booked again the other night. I do worry a little bit about Zubimendi defensively and that sort of lack of physicality that Partey had and that Declan Rice has got. So that concerns me a little bit. My thing, and I've said this for years, and some people agree, some people don't. I know Kenny thinks that Rice is an 8, don't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
I don't. I think
no, I
that
agree.
Rice should have been our 6, and I think we should have spent big money on an 8, whether that was a Bruno Guimaraes, whether that was a Barella, somebody of that ilk that can just open up a back four with a pass. I just don't. I've never seen Declan Rice as an 8. I think he can play box to box. He's got that energy to go and get up and down the pitch, but do you want Rice trying to play a defense splitting pass? He doesn't shoot that much from distance. I just don't see him as a top quality number 8. So Zubimendi's a little bit 50-50. I think with Madueke, to be honest, right, he's done well, but he's also kind of showed us what we've been starved of as fans over the last few years, because I don't think Madueke's doing anything special, but because our wingers are sort of so programmed, it's like, oh my God, Madueke's ran past the fullback. Even me, I'm in my stream going, oh my God, he got past the fullback. But to be honest, I don't think he's even hardly picked anyone out when he's got past the fullback. To be honest, the ball that he played to Eze against Bilbao, I think was all right. Eze should have stepped onto it and hit it. So I let him off with that. And again, even against Bilbao, he was our only attacking threat, to be honest. But I mean, if you look over the 2 games, he's done well, but he hasn't shown much end product, is what I will say. And that was always my concern with the Madueke signing. He's 1v1 demon, but does he produce enough at the end of it? And I'm still sort of in that situation now. You know, after the Forest game, I was getting messages, oh, you need to apologize to him. I said, do I? Do I need to apologize to him? He didn't get a goal. He didn't get an assist. And listen, I'm not one of them, oh, how many goals, assists. You can actually have a good game without scoring. You know, football is not a spreadsheet. Cool. You know, we watch football, and he was one of our best players against Forest. But also as a winger, if you get past that fullback, I want that cross to end up on somebody's head or at someone's feet, or you score at the end of it. So there's still a lot of progression for Noni Madueke. But the one thing I will give him credit for is that we're not desperate for Saka to come back in the team, because he is offering something to the team, which is what you're supposed to get from your squad players. When Sterling was coming in or Willian was coming in, we were begging for Saka to come back. I'm looking at Saka now going, if Saka's 80% fit on Sunday, don't play him. You don't need to play him. You know, leave him out. Because now you've got Noni who can step into the team. Same thing with Saliba. If he's 80-90% fit, don't play him. Play Mosquera. Trust him. Rely on him. So that's what they have done. Gyökeres and Eze, I mean, Gyökeres is just a goal machine. I don't think he's an amazing player to watch.
No.
You know, I was always a huge fan of Aubameyang, and people call me Aubameyang's lawyer on my channel because I'm always defending him.
You and Laurie, isn't it? You and Laurie,
me and Laurie, we were like, you know, diamond members of the Aubameyang fan club. You know,
I loved him as well, man. I
loved him, bro. And you look at the modern game now. How much would prime Aubameyang be worth now, bro? That's 100 million. That's 100 million. Do you know what I mean? He won the Golden Boot in an Arsenal team that was finishing 8th. You know, it's crazy. And he scored in big games as well. FA Cup semi-final, final, you know, he carried us. But Gyökeres, you've got to use him better. You've got to create more chances for him. You know, most of the time he's just fighting people when he's playing. He's running around, you know, scrapping with a centre-back, and heads getting cut open, and you've got to put chances on a plate for him. That's how you're going to get the best out of him if you're going to. With Eze, I mean, you know, I got asked a lot of times in the summer, do you want Eze or do you want Leao? Do you want Eze or do you want Rodrigo? And I'll be honest, I always said, I want Rodrigo, I want Leao, because
out and out left winger.
Out and out left winger, bro. Like, Arteta's got this crazy thing, like, you know, if your mum gave you a shopping list and you needed milk, you bought milk, but this guy would bring the cow home and then milk the cow. Like, if you need a left back, bro, buy a left back. If you need a left winger, buy a left winger. Like, Arteta wants to buy a centre back that can play left back, and I want a number 10 that can go on the left, and I want this. I mean, bro, just you needed a
Yeah, I
left
want
winger.
Rice who can play 6 and 8. It's just like go and buy a Rice and then go and buy an 8 and then go and get Eze and then go and get a left winger and go and get a proper left back that can actually play out and out left back. Because this is the thing I
Yeah,
said to my mate
exactly.
yesterday. Like, we actually in the summer, people are saying we don't need anything now, and I'm like, well, we do. Like, we probably need a better backup striker. We definitely need an out and out left winger. We definitely need a proper left back that's not going to be one that covers there, and we're probably going to need a better box to box midfield option than Marino. So there's 4 players already that I can say we can upgrade upon. And it's not about not doing anything now for free windows because we've got loads of players. You can always evolve and upgrade. But you're right there with Arteta. He seems to want to bring in a centre back and put him right back, a 6 and put him in an 8, a winger, a 10 and put him on the wing, a wing and put him in the 10. Like Havertz, what is he? We don't even still know what really position he was brought in for. Like, we've just made a position for him. Like, it is kind of frustrating, bruv, isn't it?
I mean, I can understand a manager going, okay, you know, if I buy a centre back that can play left back, that covers me. I understand that, but there's certain times you got to have a specialist. You know, if you want to get the best out of Eze, you don't want him hugging the touchline. You want him to be able to drift inside and go and get on the ball and do things like that. So
we tried to do that, and he kept telling him to go back wide. Did you see that the other night?
I saw it. Yeah, he was shouting at him.
That was awful.
And again, this is the thing, and I know some people will be commenting, going, you're picking at things here, but like Eze comes on against Liverpool, right? And he obviously had that chance where he took a while and Gomez brought him down. He calls him out in the press conference, says, Eze should have done better. And I was like, bro, he's been at the club for 19 minutes and you've called him out. Yeah, I've seen Havertz shoulder the ball wide against Newcastle from 6 yards out, volley it over against Man United, and then miss a penalty in the shootout. And you've never once called him out, you know, and you're pointing at the fans. Look at this guy, celebrate him and applaud him when he scores a pity penalty against Bournemouth, you know. So I think he shows you with his actions who his favourites are. And like you said, you know, Marino hasn't played well in midfield for Arsenal over any sustained period since he signed for the club. He goes and scores a hat-trick for Spain, who, by the way, play a totally different way to us. He comes back into the press conference and he goes, well, you know, guys, Marino hat-trick, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro, he didn't score that hat-trick for us. And he ain't going to score that hat-trick playing for Arsenal in midfield either. Do you know what I mean? Because he don't even look like scoring the way we play. Half the time he's defended. So it's like, to me, and I know we're going back, right? Ethan Nwaneri, in my opinion, is a star. I think he's a young star, bro. Like, I don't look at him as just some, he's a decent young player. I look at Ethan and think like he could be a top young player if he was getting consistent football in this Arsenal team. But he's probably not going to get the game time because of...
Well, he needs to go on loan in January then. Like, real talk, because the guy needs to be playing now. He's 18. He scored 10 goals for Arsenal at a 17-year-old. Saka didn't do that. Like last season, he looks better at 17 than Saka, Smith Rowe, and all the guys we were getting excited about did a few years ago. You got Max Dowman at 15, who looks incredible. And I don't have the faith with this manager. He's going to turn them into stars because there's only really Saka that's made anything of this team in the attacking options. Now, we'll see this season what he can do with Madueke and Eze. But when I look at Max Dowman, I think, do not ruin this kid and do not ruin Ethan because, my God, we've got 2 at the same time that have come through. In fact, if you add Lewis-Skelly, you've got 3 at the same time coming through. And I'm thinking, is this guy going to be the right coach for them? Like, it worries me, Curtis.
Yeah. You could be right. Someone asked me that at the start of the season. I was like, nah, Ethan's too good to go on loan. But with the amount of game time he's getting, you know, getting like 8 or 9 starts is not really going to help him, is it? He could easily go to a mid-table team in the Prem and start every week.
Even go to like Leeds and help them out or saying, I don't care where he goes, just go and get first team football somewhere and like, you know, express yourself because when he's doing it at this club against Leeds and Forest, the manager's dropping him the next game. Like, it's just not right for me.
Bro, I'll be honest, right? And chat as well. For me, the most excited I've been watching Arsenal this season is the Forest game when Ethan came on.
Facts.
Every minute, you know, Madueke was cooking the left back. You had Eze on that other side drifting. Ethan's driving. Gyökeres was getting service. I sat there for the rest of that game. I went, yes, this is the Arsenal that I want to watch. Do you know what I mean? This is, and I know people will always say that, you know, the George Graham times and stuff like that, but even George Graham like allowed people to attack when the time was right. You know what I mean? Merson was entertaining to watch. Right, he was a star in his own right. You know, he wasn't. It wasn't just boring. Like I think since Arsene Wenger, we've kind of changed as a football club that now you associate Arsenal with good football as well. I think our DNA is now Arsenal play good football. You know, you used to go on holiday, you know, Spain, America, whatever. You say, who do you support? Arsenal. I go, yeah, I like the way you play. You know, we was always that team that was known as playing good football. And I think Arteta's just got to just be careful, because I think the one thing that will put him under a lot of pressure is if we're playing boring football and we're not successful, people are going to say, how can you spend £1 billion and be so, like, you know, when the game finished against Bilbao the other day, right? Honestly, I mean, I did the watch along. I was shattered at the end of the game. Because the game was draining me of energy. I was bored watching it. Now, the day after, I sort of calmed down and went, okay, you've gone away to Bilbao. It's first game of the Champions League. You've won 2-0. I can't complain too much because the result is all that matters. But there is going to be a time where we're going to have to go up a level, or there's going to be a game where we're 2-0 down and all that defensive football goes out the window. And then I think sometimes it's difficult when a team is so wrapped in defensive football where all of a sudden you go, right, lads, we've got to turn it around now because we're 2-0 down. So I just think you've got that defense. You've got to allow that attack now, the freedom. And the biggest thing for me is that this weekend we play Manchester City at home. If Arteta picks the right team, I think we're going to beat Man City on Sunday if he picks the right 11. If he picks the wrong team, I don't think we'll beat them, whether that's a draw or a defeat. So the fact that I'm now that confident that we will beat Man City at home, but it's purely down to his team selection, that shows you where we're at as a club right now. You've built this squad that is so powerful and so capable of being successful, but it's whether you can figure out your own team and what's best for it. I mean, they're saying today, I don't know if you've seen, they reckon Odegaard's going to be fit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they reckon he's going to be fit. I mean, I know he probably won't confirm it in his press conference because he doesn't really give it away, but they're saying that it looks as if it was only a minor knock and the same as last time. So you would imagine he's going to put Odegaard straight back in the 10, isn't he, probably? But then probably take Marino out for Odegaard, or what does he do with Eze? Does he leave him on the left? You just don't know with him.
I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. Let me put the team up that I think he'll go with. Let's go for the kind of predictions of the team. I've gone with this because, and I've just put Odegaard in it just for the fact that if he's fit, he'll play him because he's our captain. I imagine he'll go with something like this if this is what people are expecting to be fit. Raya, Timber. I think Saliba will come back in because they believe he's fit now. I think that's potentially harsh on Mosquera, but at the end of the day, it's Saliba. Saliba and Gabriel. Calafiori, I think he's okay. Some were saying that he might have to come off for a knock or had a knock, but I think he's okay. Rice, Subamendi and Odegaard, I think will be the three if Odegaard's fit. If not, I think he'll play Marino. I've got to be honest. And then I think Madueke and Eze will be on the wings either side of Gyökeres. What do you think? Do you think that's about what he'll go with?
I mean, to be honest, I'm just happy that you've put Eze in the team because I'm not totally convinced, you know, that he will start him. I hope he does, but he looked very, very. We were all happy for Martinelli, right? I was delighted for him because I do still think he's got a role to play, whether that's an impact player coming on late when the game's stretched. But I didn't come away from that game and think, oh, do you know what? I'd start him. Listen, the only other thing you could do, put Eze in the 10 and Martinelli on the left. But then if Odegaard's fit, Odegaard's going to play. So, yeah, I mean, Saliba trained on Friday and they reckon he's trained all week. So I think Saliba will play, and I would play him as well. It is harsh on Mosquera. And the other thing is that Haaland scored home and away against us last season. I'm sure I saw a stat that he's got 5 or 6 goals in his last 6 games against us. So we don't actually contain him that well, to be honest. in a lot of the games, even when we've kept him quiet, he sort of popped up with a goal. And the goal he scored last year was actually against Saliba. But if he picks that team, I would still say that would be enough to beat them. Even though I wouldn't pick Odegaard, I still think that front three against Cousinhoff and O'Reilly, and if we can get the ball to Gyökeres, I think that would be enough to beat them. But if he starts turning up with Marinos and Martinellis, then we're having a totally different conversation.
If Odegaard and Saliba aren't 100% fit and Mosquera comes in for Saliba, I think we both agree that's fine. But what would you do in the 10 in the left if Odegaard wasn't fit? Would you put Eze in the 10 and Martinelli left, or would you play Eze left and Ethan in the 10?
I'd play Ethan. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, so
I can't give it like
scored against City last year as well, Ethan.
He did. Like, at what point do we? It's too safe to just go Martinelli. I don't want to do that. He would probably go Martinelli because he's going to go. Calafiori runs all over the place, right? So he's going to go, well, I'll play Martinelli because he'll help defend. But I'd go with Eve. You know, I know someone's saying they'll struggle against Rodri, but I don't think Rodri would like playing against Ethan because Ethan's got that low centre of gravity. He's very quick. Rodri's just come back from an ACL. I would play it, but he won't. There's no way on earth he'll start Ethan. Not a chance he'll play him. If anything, he'd go Eze and Martinelli, I think. This game, I think, will suit Eze, actually. I think these are the games where he will get more freedom because City will attack. And that's where I think he will be able to drift inside. And they've been playing Cousinhoff at right back, who I don't rate. Don't rate him. So this game is very, very intriguing for so many reasons because realistically, right, if City lose, they've lost 3 out their opening 5. Now, I know it's early, but you'd be almost
9 points too much for this Liverpool side. I agree with you. I think they'll be out of the title race.
They could be out of it. Yeah, they could be out because I'm not even sure Liverpool lose 3 or 4 games this season.
No.
Do you know what I mean? To be honest. So if they've lost 3 out of 5, they're going to lose another 2, 3, 4 somewhere. They're going to end up losing 6, 7 games. I don't think the title winners are going to lose 6 or 7 games this season. I think it'll be more like 4 or 3. Couple of draws maybe as well. So, and the way they're playing, so I think for them, they need to get a result. And then, like I said, with us, if we don't beat City and we've lost to Liverpool, people are going to say, you're flat track bullies. You can't do it against the best team. But like I said, it's just down to team selection. I think we can beat them if we pick the right team. There's only 1 or 2 positions really that are up for grabs. I think probably 9 of the 11 is nailed on. It's just 1 or 2 of them. I think Saliba will definitely play because he's trained all week. And I just think he'll go with him and put Mosquera in the Carabao Cup game. But it'll be interesting. Saka, for me, I mean, Saka hasn't been seen in training with the group this week. They're saying he's doing individual work. I just wouldn't involve him in the game whatsoever. I honestly think Arsenal need to change the way they manage Bukayo this season. And I'm talking even when he's fully fit. There's certain games where, you know, let's say you're playing Burnley at home, you can rest. You don't need to play because I think people seriously got to look at the fact that Saka's torn one hamstring and pulled the other one. Like, hamstring injuries have ruined people's careers. You know, you look at the Michael Owen interview and what he did to Torres, and look at Daniel Sturridge, what he said about how he couldn't run properly after tearing his hamstring. We've genuinely got to be careful with Saka's career, not just short term, but long term. So I wouldn't even have Saka on the bench this week, to be honest. I'd just take it. You don't need to play him against Port Vale. Just try and get him maybe ready for Newcastle, if even that one.
If I'm honest with you, bro, I've said this to judges and I'll say it again. I don't want to see Saka until the West Ham or Fulham game. I've got to be real. Like, I think with Madueke coming in, I know it's important. Last season, we had to try and rush him back for Real Madrid and PSG games. I get it, because you want to try and win a Champions League with Saka. But for me, it's so early in the season. Why are we rushing him back for these games? Like, let's just let him have a time off. Same with Odegaard as well, by the way. If he's not fit for City, just let him. Saliba, if these guys are like 70% fit, just play Mosquera, play Eze or Wanieri, and leave Madueke on the right. Why are we rushing? Like last season, I got it because we had like Nelson or Sterling or Fabi Vieira in the past. We've had all these guys. I get it. Like last season, we didn't want to be seeing some of the players we are, but now we've got the squad to allow for them to actually sit back and rest. Like, if there's any indication that Saka needs time off, it's the fact that he's tore one hamstring and pulled the other. Like, it might need a bit of a break then, mightn't he? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are we rushing the guy back, man? It makes no sense to me. So I don't actually care if we don't see him till after the international break, mate. Like the Fulham game, I think it is after that. Like, for me, I'm happy to see him start the Fulham away game or be brought back in that game. Like,
and the problem you've got, sorry, Dan, the problem you got is that Tuchel will pick him. If he plays a couple of games,
what I was going to say. That's just what I was going to say.
He'll go straight on international duty. He'll get flogged for 2 90 minutes, and then he's at risk because he does it with Rice every game. 2 90s back to back, and all of that. So to me, I'd be leave him out. Couple games. Tell England. Listen, how many times over the years have you seen Pep and Ferguson? He's out with a knock for international duty. You're thinking there's nothing wrong with him.
Nah.
First game back, he'll be starting for his club. Arsenal we've got to get more ruthless in all areas of the football club. England, you're going to qualify. You're playing Andorra. You don't need Saka, bro. Leave him out. We need him to rest because everybody just wants to play Saka, and we need to be more ruthless, and that's what I'm hoping Berta and all these guys are now implementing at the club. Even with Mosquera. You kind of hope that puts a little bit of pressure on Saliba in the sense of like, look, we all know deep down Mosquera is nowhere near Saliba level, but at least we've got a picture of maybe we can cope if he ever left eventually. We don't want to be in that situation, but you want to at least go to him now. Listen, here's the contract. We want you to sign it, but if you start messing around, you can't go into that last year of your deal. Like sometimes, because look at Liverpool now. Konate's got 10 months left. He's rejecting deals. Konate's how much would Konate probably cost with 3 or 4 years left on his deal? But now he's probably going to run down that deal and go to PSG or Real Madrid. Yeah, so we can't afford Saliba to do that when he's one of our best players. I mean, a lot of the reports say that Saka and Saliba will renew, which we hope they do. But we've got to be ruthless in all aspects this season, and
facts.
No,
Rice and Saka are going to play every minute for England as well. We know this, so we've got to make sure that they are 100% fit if they're getting picked. Like, like they could afford to. We could afford to say to Thomas Tuchel, "Oh, mate, you might have to play Adam Wharton and Madueke because or Jared Bowen because." These guys ain't 100% yet. They'll be there for the World Cup, by the way, they'll be there for the Euros, whatever, either tournament. But we can't play them in this one, but they'll be available for the next one. Fergie used to do it all the time. Wenger used to do it. So he's got then, if he plays Saka against Newcastle next weekend, let's say, he's going to get picked by Tuchel and then potentially be risk of injury again. Like, I know it's a bit different with Rice because Rice is not at the same level of Saka, but if we keep playing Rice for England and Arsenal, he will be as well. So, Saliba, Timber, all these guys, Gabriel, they've all been playing an unbelievable amount of games in the last 3 or 4 years. You look at Ben White, like touch wood, Ben White hopefully will be all right in the next coming games. But I look at it and I think that guy never got injured. And he's played so much football because of bloody Tomiyasu getting injured all the time and Timber doing his ACL. He played the whole season. And since then, he ain't been the same. Like, in terms of his ability, he's been the same. But he ain't been the same fitness-wise. Like, what's happened to this guy? Like, he never used to get injured. And now he can hardly play. I
think they delayed surgery, didn't they, with Ben White? Yeah. They tried to play him. And obviously, it must have got worse. And then he's had surgery. And then... we was watching him in pre-season actually, and I thought, he looks sharp. I thought because Timber wasn't obviously playing. I thought, Ben White's gonna, put some pressure on it. And it's always interesting. Like Arteta just said, like, he's out. It's a knock, and then you don't see him for 4 weeks. And you think, well, that's a heavy knock if he ain't played for 4 weeks. But we're kind of lucky that that Timber's such an animal that he seems to just be able to play, and Ben White hasn't really been needed as much. I honestly say, and sometimes people say we don't give enough credit, but I think Timber is one of the best signings I've seen at Arsenal in years.
Bravo.
Absolute years.
I could not agree more.
He is absolutely. I think outside of Hakimi, who I'd only just give it in because he's so good on the ball going forward. I think Timber's one of the best right backs in world football. He's the best in the Prem. And honestly, for me, I mean, I would say, and me and you similar age, I would say Lee Dixon and Lauren are the two best right
Yep.
backs. He is in the same category as those two for me. The only thing you would say is the other two guys have won major trophies, so you can't really put him above those two yet. But I think he's absolutely incredible as a player, considering he's had an ACL injury as well. I haven't seen a player like this for a long time.
I agree. In terms of ability, this might sound a crazy thing. I think he's better than Dixon and Lauren technically and ability-wise. The only reason he won't go ahead of them is because of the longevity and what they want at the clubs. That's the only reason you put Lauren and Dixon ahead of him. I think technically he's better than all of them. I think he's unbelievable, Curtis. Like I've not seen anything like. He's a machine. He's consistent. He doesn't lose the ball. He never gives it away. He tackles good. His people take the mick out of him because he can't go forward. But I've seen him do good things going forward as well. Like if you look at the attributes of Ben White, you might say he's better overlapping than at the with Saka. You might say that Ben White have a little bit more shithousery and attitude about him. But if I'm honest with you, I just want someone who's consistently good. And I'm with you. I think that there's Hakimi and obviously Trent, who people talk about in that position. I think he's a better defender than Trent. There's no denying that. I think he's as good as Hakimi, if I'm honest. You might look at Hakimi going forward. He's a beast, Hakimi. But to put him anywhere near the level of that anyway is unbelievable. And, Reece James is quality, but he's never fit. So for me, Jurrien Timber's the best in the league and maybe one of the best in Europe. So I agree with you. I think he will go down alongside Gabriel as Arteta's best signing. I've got to be honest with you because you look at Rice and you think, Rice was brilliant, but he's a hell of a lot of money. I think Gabriel for 27 million and Timber for 35, whatever he was, I think they are the two best signings that Arteta's made. I really do. And I think that Gabriel's been one player that Arteta's actually physically improved alongside the likes of Saka, etc. And I think that Timber has just amazed me. And I think with Timber, to do that off the back of an ACL, bruv, that's like, I don't think people have even spoken enough about that. That is an incredibly difficult thing to do, mate. Like, he looks unbelievable, mate. Like, I really, really like him. I really like him. He's one of my favourite players, Timber. He really is.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, Someone was saying this the other day. Arteta's built a team where we now love defenders. Like, I go up to it, who's your favourite player? Oh, Saliba, mate. Oh, I love Big Gabby or Timber. Like, growing up, a defender was never my favourite player. It didn't matter how good you was. Like, I love Tony Adams, love Sol Campbell. They were never my favourite player. It was Bergkamp and Henry and the attacking players. But that's how solid and strong we are now as a defence. Yep. But we now want, we need this generation to be saying Eze's my favourite player, Yoka is my favourite player. That's only going to come if we're scoring goals and free flowing. And Arteta has got all the tools this season to have such an amazing season. But he's just got to use them correctly. If he doesn't, it's going to create a lot of pressure on him because the things he's complained about before have been addressed. You've got squad depth. You've got the goal scorer. You've got the 6 who you wanted. It's all there for him. And it's just about what he can produce. We've got to win something this season. You said earlier, I know me and you have had this conversation. You said one of the domestics. I'm a little bit more harsh. I think he's got to win one of the big ones. I honestly do.
I know you are. You're not alone either. You're not alone.
Some people will say that's a bit spoiled because, the FA Cup's massive. I still love the FA Cup. I still even like the League Cup just because of the history and, all that stuff. The only reason Palace won the FA Cup, United won the FA Cup, United won the League Cup, poor teams have still won those trophies.
Last year won the League Cup.
Newcastle last year. So I kind of look at it and think 6 years, $1 billion. If you nick me a Carabao Cup and finish second or third, I still don't feel like that after so many years is enough. And listen, not everyone will agree with that, but I think teams only get so much of a window of an opportunity to win something. I think this team right now is in the middle of that window. The longer it goes without happening, it will start going wrong. Like, you'll lose somebody to a bigger club or somebody will get injured or they'll start to not believe in what the manager's saying because they'll go, 4 years, nothing's changed. And I just look at certain managers and I think, look what Enrique did with Osman Dembele. You know, he took him from a live wire winger to potentially a Ballon d'Or winning striker. And you look at Simone Inzaghi, and you know, there's a lot of top managers out there that I think would come to Arsenal and manage this team. Because imagine coming to Arsenal as a manager, you're not walking in the door and going, "Oh, this is a bad group." You're going to look in and go, "Wow, what a squad you've left me here. If I can get 10% more out of 7 or 8 of these players, this team's unreal." So that for me is where I'm at with Arteta. He wouldn't. I'm not sort of saying get him out is rubbish. I'd be saying thank you for what you've done, but now we need that. We need the clock to what Brendan Rodgers was at Liverpool. We need that guy that's going to take us that next level. So if Arteta can do that, then no problem. But if he can't, I think you can't keep saying give him another season and all that. You know, it's sort of now or never for me.
Yeah, and look, yeah, it's mad because my standards have always been that you win, and I've always said that you win trophies. It doesn't really matter to me, like if you've only won the cup that has the history that I've been celebrating. I celebrated the League Cup in '93. I've celebrated many FA Cups, trust me, and the Premier League was unbelievable. There's an order of priority. If I'm honest with you, my priority is Champions League, then Premier League, and then FA Cup, then League Cup. Some people the other way around with Premier League and Champions League. I just want one with the big ears because we haven't bloody won it before, right?
Yeah,
that's the only reason I want that over the Prem. And you know, maybe if we won that, I'd go back the other way around because the Premier League's your bread and butter. But I do feel personally that a trophy would be enough just for me, and I'm absolutely fine if someone says, "Nah, man, that ain't enough. He's got to win this one or this one." I'm not going to go, "What you talking? You're deluded." For me, it's got to win a trophy, and I'm kind of saying, I'll make it easier for you, Mikel. Just win me one of them domestics and go all the way with Liverpool, because I'll give you another year if that's the case. Some people are saying no, he's got to win the Premier or the Champs, and that's because he's been here 6 years, bruv. It ain't 6 months in the job anymore. So, you know, and if he can't do anything and he is nothing at all, and we're finished 9 to 10 points behind Liverpool, then I'm going up to PSG and I'm giving Luis Enrique 15 million a year. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's what I want to be doing. You know, Hansi Flick, Luis Enrique, one of these guys that has actually proven they can get their side across the line. And I don't personally feel that Mikel Arteta can do it. And I've just got to be honest with you, Curtis. I just have. If I will, you know, I wish I was infused to go, I can see Arsenal picking up at least 2 trophies this season. I'd love to be able to do that. But instead, I'm saying that about Liverpool, because they've gone and got Isak when we've gone and got Gyökeres. They've gone and got Wirtz when we've gone and got Eze. They've gone that extra mile. I like Eze and Gyökeres, but they've gone and trumped us on both of those players with British transfer record fees, on top of Salah and Van Dijk and Gravenberch and all these guys. So, mate, it's going to be tough to beat Liverpool. It really is, man. But look, before I get your score predictions, the fantasy football is back, people. So, Curtis, I need your help on this one. So, big up of doing fantasy football, and we've got to pick my team. So, all you need to do, people, is click on the link in the description. And in the live chat, it will take you to this page, and you can select your team for the Arsenal Man City match. So let's see what we've got here in the goalkeeping situation. I shouldn't really do this because I'm showing everyone my team, but you know what? I don't care. Let's have some fun with it. It's free to play, people. All you've got to do is click on the link, and this will come up. Are we going David Raya or Donnarumma, do you reckon, Curtis?
No, we got to go Raya, man. We're going to score. Even though Donnarumma kind of haunted us last season, didn't he, for PSG?
He did, man. It was a good signing. I can't lie. In defence, are we going Big Gabby, Saliba? What do you think?
Yeah. Is there a limit? Can you just pick all Arsenal players, or
no? You can only pick 3 Arsenal and 3 Man City out of the 5.
You got to pick an Arsenal defender, aren't you? Yeah, I wouldn't go Saliba just in case he don't play.
It's got to be Gabriel, isn't it?
Maybe go Gabby. Yeah.
Okay. And then we've got 3 more options. We can only pick 1 more Arsenal. I mean, do we have to put Haaland up front? Because
I think we've got to, because he's just going to get more service than Gyökeres probably.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's got to be Haaland, unfortunately. What about midfield? We've got 2 more players that we've got any outfield player, so you can pick any position, and 1 midfielder. I don't know what to do, really.
Midfield. Do you go
Rice?
Could get Rice assist from a set piece. We love a set piece.
Maybe we go Rice. Let me know in the chat what you say in chat. Zubamendi's being mentioned. I don't know with Zubamendi. I know he scored 2 against Forest, but I don't know, man. Eze is a shout.
Yeah, Eze, Foden as well. The creative players,
Foden.
maybe.
Maybe we go for Eze and Foden.
Yeah, because
That could work, to be fair.
Even Doku's playing well for them as well at the moment.
Let's go Eze and Foden. Let's go Eze and Foden, because I can't pick any more Arsenal. Or I cannot afford them. Might not be able to afford that.
Oh, it's fine. Oh, yeah. Don't look like you're getting Foden then.
Yeah,
Mate.
I'm not going to get Foden then. So maybe we go Rice, because he'll be cheaper. And then can we get Foden in? No, we still can't.
Spent too much.
Spent too much. Yes.
Yeah. You're
cheaper. It's Haaland that's killed us, I think.
Haaland's probably worth a fortune, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, we could go Gyökeres and then I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough, this one. Unless we just keep it here and put one of these guys in. But I mean, I don't even know if any of these are gonna play, are they? Kuzanov
plays.
Nico Gonzalez isn't. Rico Lewis isn't.
They're on the bench, the other guys.
Okay, let's make Rice cheaper then. Who can we put in? Maybe we put, is Reinders any cheaper? This one's tough, isn't it? Bernardo.
Yeah.
Or you've got Zubamendi, who's cheaper. Marino's cheaper. Ethan. I don't know they're going to play, though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Reinders could be a good shout, to be fair.
Yeah, Reinders cheaper, isn't he, I think?
Cheaper. Maybe we go Reinders.
Yeah,
okay, we go Reinders, and then that gives us, who does that give us, though? Not much of an option. 8 Nori, John Stones, O'Reilly, Calvin Phillips, he's not going to play. Rico Lewis. Tommy Asu, he's not even, what are we talking about here? He's not even there.
It's opened a few up though, hasn't it?
It's opened a few, isn't it? Maybe we can put Timber in there, Mosquera, Lewis-Skelly. Maybe we go with Timber.
Yeah.
And try and see that we can stink it out a bit with a defense. Obviously, Raya, Gabriel, Timber, and then it gives us Haaland and Reinders. Let's go with that. So once you get your team, people, you get your team like this, then you press submit, and it will allow you to play. Then you put in a score prediction. I'll give my score prediction. I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, that was the same thing I went for. Yeah.
Have you? Okay, cool.
2-1, yeah. It's like the nervous victory, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? There we go. And then we've got the board. Then you'll be added to the leaders board here. So you can see we've got 4 of us already. So go and get involved, people. Make sure that you go and show some love to that one. Okay, sweet. Score prediction, you're going 2-1, yeah, Curtis?
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. There we go, people. Make sure you get involved with Big Up Fantasy Football. Me and Curtis both think 2-1. Let us know what you think in the comment section. Couple of supers to see us out. KD says, Big Up Dan and Curtis. Arteta check social media narrative. He said after the Forest pressure, I played 3 DMs and that was narrative, right? Hope he learns. I think he was having a bit of a dig there, to be fair.
Yeah, I thought that.
Egypt says, you see the arrogance of this manager. He'd rather risk dropping points just to play his favourites that has won nothing. Yeah, look, I've got to be honest. He needs to change that, to be honest. We mentioned that earlier in the stream. Listen, Curtis, sorry we've overrun, mate. Big up to
no worries, bro.
And mate, what you got coming up, man?
Yeah, I'm on at 2. Obviously, his press conference is at 1:30, so we'll hear what Waffle is saying. He probably won't give us any team news anyway, but we just we'll have a look through, and Pep's press conference will be out as well, so we'll just preview the game and look over the Tim Lewis stuff a bit more.
Yeah, love that, man. Make sure you're following Curtis Shaw TV. The link to his channel is in the title. All we've got to do is click it, and he'll be on later on. And big up to everyone that's here. I'll be back later. Take it easy, and hopefully by the next time we speak, we'll be looking towards Arsenal, Manchester City, and we'll all be a lot more confident. Take care, people. We're out of here. We'll see you next time. Laters.